back to? Or
Yeah.
are they rolling? Culver. You got the mic? Yeah. Oh.
They're trying to make it. Maybe move the over here. Two, well, Silver Sandwiches. Can they see me okay in frame? Good, mic check. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. All right, so that means we're also, that's good. We're also streaming on YouTube and Facebook Live. So right now we know that the fire has grown to over 8,000 acres or so. We're seeing all these resources that are deployed. A lot of these trucks that are going by us are still from San Diego County. On the drive up today, saw fire trucks also from Sacramento and from Truckee up north. That means all these pre-positioned assets that you heard Governor Newsom talk about over the last few weeks as these fires have been raging are still here. Lots of CAL FIRE trucks as well, and of course with this being in Los Angeles County, we are seeing lots of Los Angeles fire trucks in this area too. And this is about a quarter mile or so, maybe a half mile from where the Grapevine is, from that 5 freeway. If we head towards that way, that means that we're still in harm's way here as far as being able to travel up and down that highway. And we know it's a very long stretch of road that goes all the way from the San Joaquin Valley to the San Fernando Valley. But at the end of the day, the big thing is, if the fire is burning through there, there's no alternate routes to jump off those grapevines and try to jump off the grapevine either east or west and try to get to somewhere else until you hit to those the Antelope Valley areas in Lancaster and Palmdale. And then as far as when you head north, further north towards Lebec and Gorman, that's where you can trail off into the mountain pass. But if for people wondering about these stuck cars here, why the closures are so far down and so far up, why you maybe can't get to Fraser Park, even though that's not threatened at the moment, it's because of this closure, because you're just sitting ducks in the middle of that highway if the fire still continues to burn and there's no way to get in and out. And if, of course, unfortunately, if it does reach the Grapevine, fire crews right now are doing several drops over the top of us just to make sure that we're safe, that we're okay in this area, but we may have to move. This is as close as we can get at the moment to the fire. So that is your most recent update. And we're going to be on at 5 o'clock on CBS, KBAK, CBS, probably still streaming online here as well. Back again at 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock so as well. But we're going to be here as long as we need to be, continuing to provide updates as needed. So feel free to keep joining us. We're going to be keeping you up to date with these live shots from right here at the scene of the Hughes Fire. Yep. Look okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, they want to get my white clothes on, or yellow clothes on. Look okay? Yeah, they want to get my white clothes on, or yellow clothes on. And for those of us still watching here on our live stream, we can see all these bulldozers that when we talk about these pre-positioned assets, we're thinking about we're thinking about with these pre-positioned assets, we're looking at all these sorts of bulldozers that are going through trying to contain this fire to the best of their ability as we speak right now. And you can see them kind of going down towards the bottom of this flames that we're seeing just to try and keep the fire from spreading. These were several assets that were moved from all over the state down to Los Angeles in the wake of the Palisades and Eaton fires and the Hughes Fire that was burning near the 5 freeway a few weeks back. Those fires still not reaching full containment at the moment. But we're still having a lot of fire this way. And for those of us still watching here, you're probably looking at a lot of these fire drops. I've counted at least 5 so far. Lots of fire drops and water drops in this area through these helicopters that you may have seen throughout the course of the fire coverage near Los Angeles, especially over that ridge that was near the 405. This, of course, near another vital roadway and the 5 freeway. And we're looking right now, if we look to our left from where we are, the sun is now starting to go down behind the mountain, meaning that daylight is only less than an hour with us from this point forward, as this turns into more of a night battle. And the night gets darker, but the flames will still be very bright in our area. Two helicopter craft that we've seen been dropping water at a time over these flames. There's also been some larger air tankers. We've yet to see one of those in this particular part of the fire. This is as far as the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is allowing us to go. We're here with several other news outlets from Los Angeles as we were trying to get close to the flames. Actually, just as we're talking there, a bunch of brush now circling back over, and one of the benefits, you can maybe see it if you look at from satellite images of being near Lake Castaic, is that is a reservoir. That's 11,000 acres of water that is that you're able to get that water from and go drop it off. Of course, the big question is how many people can evacuate from this area. And again, we're less than a half mile from the 5 freeway. It's a vital intersection, roadway that connects the San Joaquin Valley and Central California to Los Angeles County, and Los Angeles heading into the San Fernando Valley as you make that drive. And of course, from the 5 breaks off to the 405, and that's exactly where the fire in the Palisades was burning last week, where we saw some shutdowns on the 405 highway near Los Angeles. Winds not very windy. This is a typical windy day as far as Bakersfield's concerned. We've seen reports of gusts around 40 miles per hour. That's about accurate is what I'm feeling here. Seems very similar to what we saw this past summer with the Burrell fire as far as just the size of the fire. The biggest difference between that and this is you had a high canyon ridge. This is really right next to the highway. So, you know, when you look to your right, you see, when you're driving on the 5 highway, you see these kind of flatter mountains, nothing too big. And then of course, as you go down the Grapevine, you have those higher peaks and cliffs. So this is much flatter terrain in comparison to what we saw in the Kern River Valley over the summer for those people who are familiar with Bakersfield. As far as what the Palisades fire looked like in that area, not quite as steep in this particular area of the fire. That's more close to where the fire has really torched the majority of its acreage, which is near Lake Castaic. This is about a half mile, if that, from the 5 freeway right now. And as you can see, they really want to attack this fire before it heads over some of these ridges. If you can hear that rumbling in the background, that is a bulldozer. We've been talking about those and the impact that those have in fighting this fire, and that's trying to move as much brush and trying to create some clearage ways for fire trucks to go through and try to put out the fires to the best of their abilities. Those do help a lot in these cases to try to create the ground around where the flames are and create those natural barriers, and in this case, unnatural barriers. And we are still going live here until 5 o'clock. At that point, we want to take you over to KBAK CBS for our coverage. But we will be here as long as we have to be this evening, and the 5 freeway is still at this moment in time remaining closed. And if you're wondering what the conditions are like, we wear these masks. It is very smoky conditions out this way. Yeah, mic check, 1, 2. Will Silverstein, Eyewitness News. Mic check, mic check, mic check. This is our control room inside. Just make sure you get the flames there in the back for when we start this shot, and then you can zoom in closer if you want.
A little bit this way?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
And for those of us that have been watching on our streaming services, you've been able to be with us for most of this conversation here as we've been setting up. Took about 30 minutes once we reached the traffic at the base of the Grapevine for those folks heading south towards Los Angeles. That is how backed up that area is. We have another team that is down that way, hopefully ready to do a live interview, live press conference with the group that is set up down there. If they're not ready first, that press conference does not start. We'll start with us over here, continue to get these updates, but you'll get those travel updates, which are vital. Of course, this is one of the main arteries down to Los Angeles, really the main artery. When we think about alternate routes, you think about things like the 166 going towards the back, down to the 33, taking that through Ojai as an alternate route, maybe the 14, but the fire, if the winds blow the other way, the 14 is not the place that you want to be. Before we start with these updates at 5, 5:30, and 6 o'clock, more if we have to from these sites. I'll talk for a little bit about the fire.
How long are you going to talk?
I think 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yep.
And then you'll step aside?
Well, I think I'll talk for a few minutes, or for a few seconds first, then I'll step aside after that, and then you can zoom in on the fire, and they'll probably have some B-roll.
So like 10 seconds in?
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe a little more than that, maybe 15 or 20.
Okay.
I'll jump to the side.
So it not started?
It has.
Oh.
Lena's live first.
Oh.
We were in boxes earlier. That's going to go to them. Or then it's going to go back to us in a few seconds. they're gonna hold us off for a second because they're gonna do the presser first. Yep, got you. Gotcha.
I'll move a little bit this way.
Hmm.
A little bit this way.
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
The mask wasn't gonna hold on with the glasses,
Oh yeah.
so I had to go off. Wonder what's going on with the presser. Haven't seen any updates.
back out to the. I'll pull off. Oh, you want us to repeat? Okay. So if we know that, let's get out of the fire.
They're still in the presser. You want to move it closer too, or you think you're good there? I think we might be fine. What do you think?
A little bit closer, then you're more illuminated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me closer this way, or do you want the camera closer?
A little bit closer
Oh,
to
gotcha.
the camera.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Move a little bit this way, just a smidge. A smidge that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't have anything from the presser. And some of these flames are starting to get a little higher now, burn a little higher, but they're also keeping on that fire line is something else to keep in note. Flames have not crossed that line. They've grown in stature. A lot of times these crews will lay out a line and they'll drop the retardant in the water like what we've seen recently. And of course, there's no better place to be for a fire in terms of water dropping proximity than this area here, because you're right next to Lake Castaic. That's quite the place you want to be. Now that's 11,000 acres, more than 11,000 acres of water to be picked up and dropped over these flames that are burning ever so closer to the 5 freeway. We've seen about 2 or 3 different helicopters out here so far doing those water drops in this particular location. This is as close as we can go. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department has halted us right in this location. I think something interesting to note too, we saw cars on the freeway, some fire trucks from all over the state. When we think about pre-positioned assets, which is what Governor Newsom has been talking about all week, he's talking about crews from Truckee, from Sacramento, of course Kern County ourselves. We had people up there earlier. All right, and in my ear, if we're still streaming, we're It is very smoky and it's very windy too. You can see my hair blowing all over my face, and we want to just talk to you about the size of this fire. We're talking about those 50,000 people under those orders and warnings. This fire is already over 8,000 acres. That's more than half the size of that Palisades fire. It is so smoky out here. We want to take you to these flames burning right behind us, where we've seen several water drops from helicopters all over this area. We've seen kind of at least 2 different helicopters, and you can see also in the distance there are some flashing lights. Those flashing lights that you see at the bottom of those hillsides there are bulldozers that are trying to make it easier for firefighters to go through and make it easier to extinguish the flames that you can see burning along that hillside. Those flames have held pretty steady. A lot of times these firefighters will set a flare, and then you'll see those water drops coming in. We haven't seen any in a little while, but when we think about water drops in a great area to be in as far as proximity to water, remember this is burning near Lake Castaic, 11,000 acres of water that we can see where helicopters can easily get water from, drain, and come over this way. Of course, proximity. What's the proximity to the 5 freeway? Well, I can see the 5 freeway if I look over to my left. It is that close. It's within a half mile from the 5. That's how close these flames are to the 5, and we want to talk about the 5 freeway in the sense that why is it closed? This huge stretch of miles, several miles of stretch closed, even when the fire is not too close to it. Well, there's not many places to evacuate from the 5 freeway. So on the highway, you don't have that easy access to go. You're looking at exits of perhaps Lebec and Gorman with the closure here in the Castaic. And then as we head further down to the 166 to the 33, which takes you from Taft to Maricopa and all the way over to Ojai, California, which is of course in Ventura County, the next closest area to Los Angeles County. But we're thinking about lots of smoke out this way. Some gusts, not as bad as I think it had been earlier in the day, as this fire now we're getting word that it grows to over 9,000 acres, and really it's been a sight to see. And one of the biggest things we've been talking about are these pre-positioned assets, these things that Governor Newsom says he wants these crews here in the area and staying in the area in case there were any flare-ups with the Eden or the Palisades fire. And sure enough, it's this fire that occurs here, the Hughes Fire in Santa Clarita. And pre-positioned assets, we're talking about bulldozers and helicopters that can drop water and tanker jets that are already here in the area. You can only imagine what this situation would be like if all those assets from around the state weren't here in Southern California, and how fast this could have reached the 5 freeway. And of course the potential is still there too. And a lot of crews from out of the county are here too. We've seen Merced County Fire drive by. Earlier on the freeway I was seeing a Sacramento Fire truck, and also from Truckee way up north near Lake Tahoe area. So lots of crews in this area still that have been positioned here since the Palisades and Eden fires of last week. And of course, how atypical is this to be outside of that normal fire season window and to still see all these fires popping up around Southern California. Rochelle, Michael.